Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be what appears to be a dirty word. I'm going to be completely parochial. I'm going to be parochial for the borough of Kirklees.
You go for it, then.
The bit in the Conservative budget that hasn't been mentioned, or I've missed it if it was so far, is about the benefit advice service. I was, and probably by leaving still am, a welfare rights worker. I was the first benefit advisor appointed to this borough, and I developed the benefit advice service. And that was against a background of Mrs. Thatcher's government, with rising unemployment that reached 3.3 million, miserable times. I think now are miserable times for needy, unemployed people. This budget amendment seeks to wipe out Kirklees' benefit advice service. Perhaps the Tory members who made this decision or this proposal don't know or understand what this service does or achieves. In 2013-14, this service achieved money gains of £21 million for residents of Kirklees, and that is not an estimate or a guess. It is actually on the database and can be proved. This goes into the residents' pockets and into our local economy. This service provides particularly for terminally ill people and their families to take away some of the stresses of when that's happening and to look after those families, unfortunately, after that person has died. They work closely with Macmillan nurses. In the Stronger Families programme, they've been providing specific benefits advice for families, and in 2015 that Stronger Families programme will increase to 700 families. Maximising the income of these families is one way of helping them have less demands on other council services. They receive referrals for children and adult services, elderly, disabled, vulnerable residents, the very people that the new Care Act seeks to address. They receive referrals from NHS workers, community health nurses, district nurses and hospitals, the CAB, social landlords. Then people not referred or self-refer for basic general advice. They're not coming and saying, what do I claim, how do I claim it? They come with complex problems, things like benefit sanctions, benefit appeals, incorrect tax credit payments, non-payments, life crises. The demolition of the service and other advice provision would be catastrophic for some of the most vulnerable people in Kirklees at a time when our society isn't fixed. It isn't a good time for people now, particularly people at the bottom of the heap. People who are facing the bedroom tax, people who are facing benefit sanctions to meet job centre targets, which is being documented by government committees this last week, people having to use food banks, people who are unemployed. Perhaps the Conservatives are influenced by the demonisation of benefit claimants by the gutter press, misinformed TV productions, sensationalising things not based on reality. I'm saddened to see the Labour budget has had to have a reduction in funding. I will be watching the Customer and Exchequer Service and expect them to work in ways to bring external funding to replace that reduction rather than go for the simple but disastrous approach of reducing benefit advisors. These are people that we, the public of Kirklees, desperately need. The £2 million welfare fund in Kirklees was spent in full, not in reserves, and can be documented and proved. I feel that this amendment should fail because anybody who truly cares about the vulnerable and needy residents of this borough could not possibly support it.